Welcome to episode 2 of the new Cesar's Modern Life. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Cesar Rodriguez coming to you live from House Cella. As you can see, it's my house where I live. This is my desk. And thank you to everybody that tuned in for the 4th of July episode with my friend the Numb. I'm still recording all these, way ahead of time. So I appreciate the support because I know it's going to be there because, there's a lot of great people that support me and check out the stuff. So shout out to you guys. So this week I have my friend Tracy on, and if you have listened to the show in the past, she was on in the past couple years ago, and she's experienced a few things since then that we talk about, and we get into what her pain is, what her trauma is, and her relationship with her mom, and it's really a great conversation, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But one of the things that I talked about with Tracy was calling out things in your community that you see that are wrong. And if you've tuned in to the Rodriguez show, we just did this with people and the discrimination against LGBTQ people. That's the thing is people don't understand that there's a lot of racism even in the Latino community that I'll get into with Tracy. But it's like you have to know that you have to have those conversations with the people in your life. You have to have that conversation with your mom if you know that she's racist. Like, why are you going to let that happen? Like, it starts with that stuff. And so that's what I wanted to touch on this week, is just have that conversation with that uncle. Even if you don't get anywhere, at least you spoke your piece, and they know that you won't stand for that thing. I'm sorry I'm not looking into the camera. It's just how I run the show. Have those conversations because they're important, and it's time to reflect. I mean, it's always been time. We shouldn't have been ignoring these issues. But now more than ever, it's like, here, guys, like, you have the time. We're in quarantine. At the risk of sounding repetitive, we're just going to get to the conversation Tracy and I have. So shout out to her for talking to me, and we got pretty deep. So I'll talk to you after that. Enjoy.
Today was one of the boring days because I just felt like I did everything super quick. I don't know if I just had my routine down or I was motivated, but it's pretty boring. I got to the point where I was listening to like 10 podcasts, and I was just like, I'm finishing them, and I just don't have anything else to listen to now.
I'm caught up.
Yeah. Like, I haven't been caught up in like 4 months. So now that I am, just like, now what?
Now what do I have to consume? There's only so many series on Netflix I can watch.
And you know what? I just don't have... I think it's all the stress. It's like you don't have the attention span for it.
No.
It's just kind of like you watch an episode and you're like, it's all right, but I'm gonna watch it.
So Tracy, before we move on, Tracy's my friend who, if you listen to Cesar's Modern Life, she was on that
2 years ago.
2 years ago? That was like 2017 that I did that show. Different times. And she's also the number one supporter of the Rodriguez show.
Am I?
I don't know. I mean, I guess. other than my wife.
Then?
Other than my wife. You have stickers. I mean, you don't have any new stickers.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, damn.
And Tracy and I have known each other since high school. Tracy was a senior when I was a junior, right? So 1 year.
Yeah.
Different.
How did we meet?
Because of track and field.
Okay, probably cross country. Let's be real.
Whichever. I don't know.
But like, how did we start talking? That's my actual question. I was thinking about that today. I was like, did we really start talking because you asked me for a ride home? Is that really the reason?
No, I think we were friends because of Jennifer. Jennifer might have talked to you first, and then because Jennifer would talk to everybody, she was friendly. And then that's how I made other friends.
She was friendly.
Well, she is friendly now. She's not dead. It's our mutual friend, Jennifer.
She said was.
She was probably friends with you, and then eventually you gave me a ride home. Like, it wasn't.
Asked. I remember you asking.
Well, because you lived by my house, no?
Yeah, like 2 blocks. I remember you asking. I was like, I guess.
I don't remember asking. I don't remember being that bold, like to just ask somebody for a ride home. You were
kind of bold.
Damn, where was that guy?
You were so bold with me, but you were definitely bold.
Where was that confidence now? What the hell?
I don't know, dog. I think we got humbled too many times.
Life humbled us too many times.
We got served humble pie thousands of times since.
Well, I felt like in high school, there was, even in middle school, you grew accustomed to where you were, and then your confidence grew. Like when you were a freshman, obviously. But by the time you're a senior, you're like, I know this place, and you feel so good. And it felt weird to start middle school to that point, and then you start high school, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm a loser again.
And then you graduate, and you're like, oh, I'm just a loser everywhere.
Yeah, you go to college, and then, oh, everybody's a loser here. We're all just losers.
Yuck. I know. It's a hard pill to swallow, honestly.
It is.
Oh.
Did you feel that way? Did you have the same, or is it just me?
I don't know. No, I think I feel that about I feel that way now about it. So when I was going through it, I was just like, oh, this is normal. I'm like a normal person. It's whatever. But looking back, I was like, no, you were a nerd. You're kind of weird. And you only had a little bit of friends. Everyone else, you were friendly enough. Yeah. But you were just kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. It wasn't like we lived the archetypes. There was the stereotypes of like jocks and stuff like that, but it wasn't like the lines were
kids.
They weren't that blurred. Like you could talk to anybody in your class.
But that might just be us, because I've talked to people who were like my peers at the time who have been like, oh yeah, my experience was totally crappy because I was doing this or whatever. But I don't know. That just might be our personalities. Or maybe we just really didn't care, and we still really don't.
Yeah. No. I think we knew that that stuff was just like, we were just there to get out of there, kind of.
Exactly.
And that's not to say that there wasn't some fun times, but it was like, if you peaked at that point, then
it's gonna show.
It's gonna show.
It's gonna show.
This can't be our lives. Like this can't
be it. This isn't normal.
Yeah, but for sometimes it does feel like I got stuck there, for me personally, especially with some of the friends that some of our friends, like our friendship has progressed past just talking about high school, but I feel like some friendships don't. Right? Do you have friendships like that?
Not really anymore. I think like a couple of years ago, I could definitely say that I went to dinners just to talk about old high school things. Mm-hmm. But now it's just kind of like a couple messages through social media, and that's maybe it. Yeah. But not anymore.
Yeah, I guess you did learn. Once I realized what I was doing, just regressing whenever I hang out with those people, you separate yourself.
That word is so...
It's so strong, but it's regressing. Real. I feel like I do that a lot, where something really serious in my life happens, and then I have to just do something that I used to do when I was a kid. Like,
yeah, but I think it's normal.
Yeah, like that's why I feel like I play Rock Band. I did do that. I use that Rock Band as like an emotional crutch, as like a way to get through the hardships of life, and now I'm aware of that. COVID. no, not recently, but I'm saying like in life, yeah. Not recently. Even a Rock Band doesn't do the trick for the reality we're facing now. There's nothing. Do you have any things like that you do?
Let's see. I baked like crazy this weekend. I must have been feeling some type of way. I made sticky buns. Yeah. And then I made banana bread like not too long ago, just because I had bananas. I was like, well, I'm not going to eat them. So
are they some of the harder things to make? Banana bread? No.
Banana bread is easy. You could do it in like 15 minutes. The baking parts would take longer. Mm. And then the sticky buns, it's just kind of complicated because you have to do yeast and proofing. But other than that, it's like, if you can read and you can follow directions, you're pretty golden.
You can bake anything.
Yeah. Baking, I think that's why it makes it easy, because it's like you just have to follow it exactly, and that's it. Mm-hmm. I just don't do the what's that French cookie thing called? The sandwich looking thing?
Oh,
that thing's hard. That thing's hard.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I've only ever gotten it once.
The French cookies. Whatever the fuck they're French called.
Cookies, whatever they're called.
I feel like the word is on the tip of my tongue, but people are going to comment on the thing.
They know. Don't act.
You know what I'm talking about. The French
cookies. We don't have time for that. Figure it out. You have Google. I'm just kidding.
So baking, that's your distraction from life?
Yeah, I'm working out, but yeah.
I told you about the game that I got.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to confess something. I do have a vice.
What?
I read like webtoons now.
What's that?
It's like manga online.
Oh, you do?
I do. And you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
Y'all can't stop me now.
I feel like I'm an outcast now because I don't. Because I feel like everybody does. Like, I feel like that's such a normal thing now.
Yeah, it's a normal thing to watch it. I don't know if it's that normal to read it.
To read it. Well, I know that like even like Michael B. Jordan and Megan Thee Stallion, like people
right,
that
like they're like
hip with the kids, hip with the kids.
Which, you know what? I'm okay with that because I didn't like the slander. I had to hide my true self because of that.
Yeah, I just can't. I tried. I can't. Like, even when I interviewed Anum earlier, she told me to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I thought,
okay, but I feel like everyone's telling everyone to watch Avatar, and I'm not gonna watch it on principle.
Me neither. I don't want to say that to Anum, but I feel like if everybody tells me to watch something, don't.
Yeah, dude, they're like, watch Legend of Korra, and I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah, even like movies that are like classics, like Akira, that's the anime classic. I was watching. That's like that's from the 80s, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna be too hype for me to watch it. And I did, and I was like, I remember watching it when I was in college, and I was like, this is so cool, but it didn't live up to that image anymore.
Nah, I rewatched Sailor Moon like a couple months ago. That was garbage. It's not good. It's cute. Yeah, definitely cute, adorable, and aesthetic. Blah blah blah. Yeah. But it's got no substance. You want to waste your life? Go ahead and watch it.
if you need a distraction, but right now it's not time for distractions. It's time for do shit. So.
Oh, true. Healthy balance because you can burn out. We don't need people burning out over it.
That's true. Yeah, I mean it's tough, man. I saw that at I don't know if I texted you about the protest that I went to yesterday. I didn't, huh?
Nah, I was listening to the first time.
LGBTQ plus LGBTQ plus, is that what it was a march for that, Black lives as well, like Black trans lives, and there was a lady that interrupted it by yelling the N-word, and then but it was after the 7 minutes of silence. So we did this, we kneeled and were silent for 7 minutes, and I saw the lady standing there, and she didn't say anything during that, but it had to be right after, where I was like, she's a coward, because if she really wanted to disrupt it, she would have said it. Like, that's where it was in the middle
of the silence.
Yeah, like, lady, you were right there. Like, do it when because she probably said it so nobody could hear her. Like, that kind of shit.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And
was she,
she was white. Yeah, she was an old white lady. And you could see, like, she might have not all been, like, there might have been some mental illness involved, but the fact that she waited is the fact that I'm like, no, she seemed pretty aware.
She has some reasoning. Like, she has some reasoning to know not to do it during, but I'll do it after.
Yeah. And I can see that, and I could see that, and I'd be like, oh shit. But imagine, like, to be a person and to have that word be yelled at you and like constantly when you're out at these protests, like, damn, like, especially like in Huntington Beach, like here in Orange County, all that shit, like,
yeah, it's prevalent. Like, whoever says it's not is a liar. Yeah, they want to lie to themselves.
The people, that's why it's like, the people, like, if it's probably mentally draining for people to be out protesting a lot. So it is good to have a distraction.
Yeah, that's why it's good that, like, after a protest, you actually take the time to, like, decompress after the high stress area you were in. Yeah. You know, because damn, that shit, like, we're already going through a pandemic, and then you're already talking about something you've, like, let's say, you know, a Black person has faced their whole life. Yeah. Now you have to go out and you have to, you know, show up and do things and be the strong ones. Yeah. And then just be considered strong all the time. But it's impossible, man.
Yeah. It's not it's not possible to be a strong one all the time.
And then you have people out here being like, yeah, but all lives matter.
And that's the thing is, and that's what they want. They want you to feel like shit, like they're putting you down, like they're using their words as a weapon.
Right, like they came up with like the most incredible thing, and they're like, well, you know what? All lives. Yeah. I don't know.
So they can have like the I'm not racist thing because they're saying all, but they're still saying, like, they know what it means. And they know what Black Lives Matters Black Lives Matter means too. They just want to pretend that.
Same thing with defund the police. You know how many people be like, "Oh, what do you mean defund the police?" I'm like, the same thing they do to teachers. Yeah. Like, it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy a concept that we shouldn't give them so much money to do nothing. And
it's stupid how like even the president, the way that he's presenting it is just as simple as like he's like defund the police. When I heard that, I was like, how dare they? It's because he's ignorant. And if we had somebody that was like a smarter person that was trying to stay on that side, he would have been like, well, this is what it means and this is why it's wrong. This motherfucker just like, no, remember, they're just gonna take the police away. Like, you should be scared. And people fall for that shit. Like
all the time.
Yeah,
because if they can fit it in a sentence, they're like, "We got him.
Yeah,
got him."
Yeah, that's all it is now.
Oh my god.
So yeah, you mentioned the coronavirus. How are you feeling? And this has been a whirlwind of emotions on this coronavirus.
Okay, at first I was, I was scared because, I mean, how many people are truly healthy? If you really like think down, how many people in your family are actually healthy? Mm-hmm. Me, myself, as an individual, I'm good to go. If I get it, I got a good chance of being all right,
Yeah.
But like, think about your parents, your grandparents, your coworkers who don't know they have things because the healthcare here in America is garbage.
Yeah.
I was a little scared, but I was just trying to do my usual. We're like, okay, just control the things you can. Don't think about the other stuff because it's not gonna help you. So I do that, I was just like, okay, we got to make everyone wear masks. Because I was just more concerned about, like, work. Because it's a small business. We closed for a couple weeks. I don't know if we're going to reopen.
Yeah. You're still not open?
No, we're open. We've been open the whole time just because we're an essential business.
Yeah.
And we're small. It's not like... we don't have customers coming in or out. Everything's just kind of shipped out. So there's, like, hardly any contact to same people every day.
Yeah.
But either way, got them more distant... more hand sanitizer, more cleaning products, which was a bitch and a half to try to find in the first 2 months.
Yeah.
And then made it mandatory that we'd have masks. So that kind of just like, I was like, all right, I can do this. I can breathe through it.
You can go to work, yeah.
I can go to work and not worry. And then I was just like, I'll just do the grocery shopping for everybody because I don't want them going in there.
Yeah.
For my family members. So I was doing that. And then obviously as the cases rise, you get scares.
Yeah.
Whether you like to or not.
Yeah.
I don't know how people are out here still living with no mask, no worry in the world. Because I've met so many people who've tested positive already.
Yeah.
I know someone who died from it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know how you can still be like, I don't wear a mask.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
It doesn't make sense.
It's gonna choke me. It's gonna choke me. Like, what does that mean? What do you mean it's gonna choke you?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And so, like, right now, I think I'm doing okay, considering that every day it's just, like, more numbers, more people sick. Just, I don't know if I'm getting used to it. I don't know if it's just, like, my new normal. I don't know if I'm just got better coping mechanisms. Yeah. I don't think so, though. But... yeah, like right now I feel okay, but there's moments where I think about like all the plans I had and it's not even like scared or like, I mean, I get sad, but like I get mad. Like that's where I go. I get mad. Yeah. Like I get like this frustrated, like nothing's going to make me happy. This is all dumb. I'm going to just go get COVID now. Fuck it. Who cares?
I mean,
but like, so I'm telling you, like, there's moments where it's just like you're at your lowest, and some people will just be like, "I gotta go sleep. Yeah. I'm gonna cry." No, I'm gonna get mad. Yeah. I'll get like mad cry.
Damn.
I know.
Yeah, I think I get the resentment and the anger too. I don't get to the point where I cry, but like I mean I understand where you could take that to the next level because you have to take care of your parents. To a certain extent, because you live there,
Yeah. Also, I think I'm just like kind of, I don't know about traumatized, but like, my mom had open heart surgery almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And that just makes her immunocompromised for life.
Yeah.
And it's not because she didn't take care of herself. It's not because she did something. It's just like, it just happened. Like she got sick in her home country. And obviously over there, they're not going to get a doctor if you're okay after a few days.
Yeah.
And then that infection goes to your heart, and that's how you get bad valves. So remember that, kids.
Yeah. Fuck.
So like that scares me. And my dad, he's okay, you know. He's got his own, like, you know, high blood pressure, you know, the usual.
Yeah.
But he's pretty strong. But like my mom, who is used to doing everything, who's used to being the caretaker, now has to rely on us, primarily me, to take care of her things, especially if it's like having to go out to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't know if it's because of that I'm also like a little bit prepared to handle this new pandemic situation, but it might, I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of, I mean, it's a lot of added anxiety too, is the fact that you're
especially with the business thing, because it's like, it's the family business. One of the American dreams is to own your own business in America. And you finally get it just to have a pandemic almost shut you down. Come on now.
Yeah, and I get, and it's an interesting perspective. Somebody that works for a small business, it's like you understand why all the measures are being taken, but how are you going to survive this too? You know, and that's a scary part,
right? Because the government only gave us $1,200, okay?
Exactly, and
that's not even everybody. There's some people who never got it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's and those are people. Okay, I'll give you an example. One of my aunts is married to someone who's applying to be a citizen or a resident. She didn't qualify to get money just because of that.
Fuck. Because she's applying to be a resident?
No, because her husband is applying to be a resident.
But why wouldn't they give it to her? That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense. She pays taxes.
Yeah.
Right? That's what that money was based on. But she didn't get anything. And it's because she didn't qualify because of that.
Yeah.
You know how many people in the States are doing that?
Yeah. And that's the motivation
Latinx
too from
people either.
The motivation that I saw, there was a guy that owned a barbershop, and I followed him online, and he was like, I never got my money because I was considered an independent contractor. So now I have to reopen, even though I know, like, it's dangerous, but I need to make money one way or another. And
right, because no one's giving them money to eat, to pay their bills. And
it's not like, oh, hey, you just go get another job. It's like, bro, this has been my entire life. Like, I don't know, like people.
And where are you going to get another job?
Yeah,
people acting like there's an abundance of jobs right now. Mm-hmm. Dude, we're in a depression.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's tough, and that's what happens too. Is when I look at like stores that like Target and stuff, I don't care about, like that they're irresponsible and not taking care of their employees. Where if somebody tests positive, they're not going to close their store. That's bullshit because it's Target. But like, think about a smaller business that can't handle that. Like, if somebody at my store catches it, we have 10 employees, we have to close for 2 weeks, and that's it. Like, that sucks.
Right, like, and you guys work in a small quarter, so like you couldn't even be like, okay, we're gonna sanitize this area and we're gonna be okay. It's like, nope, that whole area is done. We can't use it.
And so now a person that works at a place like that is like, everything that I have to think about is considering whether if I make a mistake about not going out without a mask or something, that could shut down a business.
Everybody's move.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know what you mean. like I go to the bank probably every day because of work, right? Yeah. I think every day that I go to the bank, there is at least 2 people who go in, no mask, nothing. And you know what the funny thing is about the people who go in with no mask, or they go in and they take it off? It's the air of arrogance of that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. Like they're showing us all up that they're being nasty and inconsiderate of everybody. They kind of just go in and go, I'm breathing air.
Like, there's people that come up to us. We don't have a door, so they come up to us and they pull their mask down. Like, you're not supposed to be you could wear it a distance. Don't wear it from me, but when you get close to me, put it on. Like, it's the opposite.
I know, like, it's such a, I don't get the opposition for the mask. It's another accessory, just like you tweeted. What was it?
It's just accessorizing.
Like, why are you trying not to accessorize?
You could bedazzle it.
You know how many masks I bought in like the first month?
Yeah.
I have like 30 masks.
You know how many compliments I get from wearing the mask? You think I'm gonna stop wearing it?
That's lit. You literally wash it every day so you can wear it every day.
Yeah. So why? I have one for work that I wash every day. That's my like when I'm wearing a nice outfit mask is the mask.
Oh shit!
That's
I know. I have these like satin ones, and my brother's like, those are kind of slutty, like daddy. I'm like, I know.
You know what I've seen people wear basically hairnets as a mask where they have the holes, and they're like, this is good because I can still breathe. And I was like, that's not the point.
It's like that one picture where it's like you wear your pants, but like your weenie's out. That's how it looks like when your nose is out.
Yeah, your weenie.
I won't say the other word. It's vulgar. I'm not in the mood.
Penis. Penis is vulgar, guys.
Penis is vulgar, guys. Remember that.
So a couple weeks ago, this is a weird transition, but I wanted to talk about something. We don't have to get into a deeper conversation on it. We want to touch on the discrimination in the community of Mexicans versus not Mexicans, right? Basically, right?
Right, basically, yeah.
You were saying, so yeah, we just discussed in that phone call how the term Latinos for Black Lives Matter was problematic, or that there was racism in that statement, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the conversation started. So why is that? If you could explain that.
Well, one of the main arguments, and it's true, is that you kind of erase the whole fact that there are Afro Latinos.
Mm-hmm. You
could just say Black.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. Because in our own cultures, there's racism.
Mm-hmm.
And there is.
Yeah.
Anyone who in any group, there's always going to be someone who's the darkest, and they're going to be the ones who's going to be made fun of.
Yeah.
Sure, you're all friends. Not saying us, but in general, family members.
Yeah.
There's always the one who's called el negro.
Yeah. It's true.
So that kind of whole negates the fact that it's like we're trying to talk about all systemic racism.
Mm-hmm.
So saying Latinos for Black Lives Matters, no, it's us too. We should be looking at our own cultures and being like, all right, where can we fix us too?
Yeah,
because we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of racism within our own communities. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, and that's something that I didn't realize until I think back at like my childhood and what your parents say, and I've heard people, not specifically my parents, which is, I'm not even lying. I've never heard my mom say anything about anybody of a different country, but I have heard like uncles say stuff like that where it's like, I didn't even know. And to my ignorance too, I thought it was just another state. I didn't know it was another country. And then looking back, I'm like, I was like, isn't it all just, if we speak Spanish, it's all good? That was my ideology. And
right.
But now I can see it's not, to some people, that's not it. Like, it's a casual racism.
It is. And it's one of those things where it's just like, Mexicans are the majority.
Mm-hmm. They
are the majority. And because of that, it's easy to just be like, oh, they're all Mexican. It's all cool, whatever. Or like when you put a meme up and they're like, oh, this is like, I just saw one right now where it's like, oh, all non-Mexicans when they see Happy Mother's Day on May 10th. But it's not just Mexico. It's like a whole bunch of other Latin American countries.
Mm.
It's like little, that would be like a microaggression, I guess.
It's like exclusion. Yeah, it's like aggression through exclusion, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's like little things like that. And then when you're going through the school system, they'll be like, oh, where's your family from? And they'll be like, Jalisco. Someone will say Guerrero. Someone will say Morelos.
Yeah.
Ciudad Mexico, whatever. And then you'll be like, oh, my parents are from El Salvador. And they'll be like, what? And then they'll use another word that I don't know if I should say on air.
Yeah.
Or they'll be, I'll say it, it's fine. They're like, oh, you're a cerote?
Oh, shit.
Don't say that word if you're not Salvadorian. FYI.
Yeah.
That's not for you.
Damn.
We ain't gonna say, we don't take that very lightly.
Yeah.
As it is. It's not a good word. And then anyone else saying it's not good. So it's like little things like that.
Yeah.
And then now with the internet, when you'll have people taking polls like, which tamal is better? Oh my god! Like that just opens the door for people to just be like the
fight
worst
about
version
their cultures.
yeah, like be the worst versions of themselves.
Damn.
So yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah, this stuff is it's like ingrained kind of, because it is true. Like Mexicans, there's a lot of light-skinned Mexicans. I happen to be one of them, and I'm privileged in that sense because I'm not passing for a complete white person, but I'm also like passing because of lighter skin, I guess, right? Like,
right. You're not. They're not saying that you're like. Wait, what's the word? Paisa from the get. Like you can get away with not being one, but if you were like a few shades darker, you're that word to them. Yeah, that's it.
It's true, and then
but it's the same for me. I get a lot of "you don't look Salvadorian."
Yeah,
and I know what that means. That means I'm not super short. I'm not super dark. Yeah, that's what that means to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I also have my privilege, which I know I do.
Yeah. So we're like lucky to be in the position where we're at, where it hasn't really affected. Well, has it affected your life? How has that affected your life?
I mean, I think I just had to always be like a little louder. Yeah. Of who I am, where I am, what I'm eating. Yeah. But like, thankfully, I got to learn from it, like by books and reading, and not necessarily because I experienced it. Yeah. I did experience some like weird shit with like older white women, but with other Mexicans, not too much, just because I think I've always been louder. Like I've always had that personality where like I'm gonna come at you if you come at me. Yeah. So try it.
So the people that didn't like people from El Salvador would have stayed away from you anyway?
Maybe.
Because they're like, oh well, she's very vocal about it. I don't want to hang out with that person.
Possibly.
So, but yeah, it's like, but I think that the racism, even it's more overt from the generation before us, right? From our parents. Or do you think that you think it's like because people our age, I would feel like there's more people and this is me guessing, I don't know.
Well, it also probably just has to do where we are geographically, where we got our education, who we hung out with, because there is still definitely a lot of people our age who like it doesn't matter what you say. Mexico is number one. Everyone else is like just wishes they were Mexican, and we're not going to acknowledge your existence. So like, sorry,
it's fucked up.
Like you guys are always going to talk weird. We don't understand you. Blah blah blah. You know. There's always going to be people like that. I don't really think that has to do more with generations. I think this just has to do with
ignorance.
Like, ignorance. And I don't know. And at this point, it might be willful ignorance because there is a such thing as the internet. And if you're talking all this shit on the internet, that means you have access to Google. Yeah. So I don't know what the excuse yourself. Is. Yeah. Like your fingers work.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting thing, and I think that it's something we can all think about. Is it's not just about black people; it's about all black lives. Like,
right? It's not just about here in the U.S. because the U.S. is not the only one with problems. Remember that. It's like yes, white people need to be held accountable, and we need to have change, but we also could change within our own cultures, and it'd be better for everybody.
Yeah, and that's I went to a protest. I think I mentioned that already. There was a guy that he's half black, he's half Mexican, and he was gay, but his dad supported him, but he didn't support his cousin who was trans. And it's like you can't you if you're gonna support the people, like be inclusive. You can't leave out a group. And
right. It's like they go, okay, that's okay, but like that's too much.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the focus sometimes with like if I'm like tell my mom like, hey, maybe our family, not you, but other people were racist to people that are not from Mexico, and it's like, well, that's not the conversation we're having. It's like, but it is the conversation we're having. We're all having this conversation of we're accepting everybody, not just that's the point. Is that you're saying Black lives because is to be inclusive to everybody.
Right. Including Black lives is to be inclusive of everybody. Exactly. It's not to be like, oh, Black lives, everybody else. No, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, the problem is that everyone else's lives has mattered, but theirs has not.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's, it's like you said, it's a U.S. problem, and it is prevalent. The racism is prevalent all over the world. But that's what we got to acknowledge too, is that here we're saying Black Lives Matter because the system has been rigged against them, because since slavery, since they were free, they've been oppressed in one way or another by the system.
Like every system has been made so that they could only get this much done while everyone else is like this much done.
Yeah. And the conversation we're having right now is saying that this isn't the only system that it's happened to. We have to acknowledge this other system in other countries like Mexico, like the stuff we're seeing, that they're oppressing other people in their own way.
Right, like they have their own immigrant problem. I suggest all of you go Google that.
Yeah. So
that is too much.
There's no high and mighty. I think we're all kind of equally screwed. We're all kind of equally trying to say, hey, there's a whole mess of problems here. We need to fix this together.
Right.
You know,
that is what is essentially being said. But a lot of people, like I think I told you this in the phone call, where it's just like, I think people are just really hesitant to change, or the thought of change. It's like, it's scary. Yeah. You're just thinking, but if everyone has it, then I'm not going to have anything.
Yeah.
Then what happens to me?
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's scary. And like, for our perspective, like for our communities, a lot of our parents are immigrants. So they're coming from somewhere where it's like they left somewhere that they called home because it was supposed to be better here. Mm-hmm. So seeing all of this unravel, I'm sure is just bringing up a lot of like past traumas that they hadn't thought about in a really long time. Like my parents came here because there was a civil war going on.
Yeah.
So I'm sure seeing all of this is just bringing up a bunch of stuff that happened to them when they were kids that, you know, they didn't have to think about for a long time, because here it's supposed to be different. It's supposed to be like the Holy Land. But then you realize it's not, because it's just like everywhere else. Systems made to make people richer and make everyone else who's working harder just work until they die.
Yeah. Fuck. So I asked Anum, and I think you can guess her answer, but do you feel like we're making progress as a people? Do you feel like there's
in some aspects, yeah, but I think we're like a long ways from where it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
And it might just be we're probably not going to see it all change in our lifetime, and that's just something we have to accept. Mm-hmm. But that shouldn't deter you from continuing doing the work to try to change things. Yeah.
So
I guess we're working for the promise of a better tomorrow, is what I'm trying to say, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be for my kids or my kids', but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, but
right
it's
now.
not for you.
Yeah. So, there's a saw going on. I'm sorry if you hear the saw. Or somebody's riding a motorcycle. Jesus Christ.
It's all right. It's better than the fireworks.
Okay, so wanted to get deep here, and you said you talked a lot about your parents. I wanted to ask you what pain has informed your life view, the way that you feel like right now. Was there a moment in your life, or was there like collection of moments?
It's probably collection of moments. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's talk about the parents. Okay. My parents are immigrants. My dad came here when he was 18.
Okay.
My mom came here when she was 20, I think. But my mom, I think her story is much sadder because my dad had both his parents with him at the time. So it was okay. He came alone, but you know, he grew up with both parents. And my mom did not grow up with both parents. She was basically left with her younger brother and sister at the age of, I can't remember, like 12 or 13. She was left with her grandma. She did not have a good experience with her grandma.
Yeah.
So at some point, that grandma was just like, I don't want to take care of these kids. Like, they got to figure it out. So supposedly they were what happened was they went to the other grandma, who was supposedly going to be the saving grace, because, you know, she took them in, and she did take them in, and she would feed them and blah, blah, blah. But also, that's not your mom. Yeah. No one is going to take care of you like your mom.
Yeah.
So these grandmas were not nice, and they My mom was basically made to fend for herself because she was a little older.
Yeah.
So at some point, my mom then goes to the capital because they're from a smaller town, and she had to work her whole life, and I think all of that, when she finally got to come here, all of that has then been her being like, I to the point. Let's see, how do I explain it? I think all of that made her want to be like the best mom she could ever be.
Yeah.
But also, I think her traumas were then like, but I have to show you how to live without me. Yeah. And I have to show you how people will talk to you regardless, you know?
Yeah.
So whenever anyone has ever like talked shit about me or said something mean to me, it'll cut, obviously.
Yeah.
But nothing has ever cut deeper than what my mother has said to me.
Jeez.
I guess I'll share this, is fine. Around New Year's, she said something that I don't think she meant for me to hear.
Yeah.
And for about 2 to 3 months, I could not get over it.
Yeah.
There's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing anyone else can tell me. But if she says something it'll like cut me to the core because from hearing all her stories, all her traumas, it's like I want to be like the perfect kid, just like she wants to be the perfect mom. But perfection is not real.
Yeah.
Like, I'm my own person, so I'm gonna do what I want to do, and she's her own person, and she's gonna do what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And so all of that collected, you know, it makes me kind of stubborn. Not kind of, really stubborn. It makes me be a little louder.
Yeah.
And, you know, strong-willed.
Yeah. And it makes sense. That's kind of how I've always known you to be since I've met you. Was you were that person that was stronger. Like it was like nothing I could say. I couldn't because I was kind of a dick. I would say things to make fun of people. But there was like,
and I was gonna laugh.
Yeah, and there was nothing that I could say to you that would. Except for the fact that you couldn't make left turns.
No, yeah, because, and you know what? It's not even just her who says like really fucked up shit. It's like the whole family. But it's the same thing where it's just like they go through so much trauma that they don't believe in therapy. So they get it out by saying some really fucked up shit and then laughing about it. Yeah. And then you have to just learn like, oh, okay, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. It's fine.
It's kind of fucked up though. I mean,
it's kind of fucked up, but like, you know.
Yeah. So how do you think? So you think that relationship with your mom? How does that?
So I think, you know, before her surgery, if I would have heard what she said, I don't think we'd be on speaking terms right now. Like I don't even think I'd be like trying to help her out in the slightest. But I think after that happened, it's like I saw her vulnerability. She wasn't like this invincible being to me anymore. Sorry, there's fireworks. My neighbors.
It's okay. Doesn't sound that bad.
Money. All right. She wasn't this invisible being to me anymore. It's like, oh, she became human. Yeah. She became someone. You know, it was just like, oh, that's my mom. She can't be told anything. Yeah. And I think obviously that's changed her because even now, when I'll tell her something, she won't laugh it off as like, you're a kid, you don't know anything. Yeah. It's more of like, she's gonna listen to what I'm saying because I have her best interest. It's never just because I just want to bullshit her. Yeah. So it's one of those, I guess it's a power balance thing, but it's also just like we both saw our humanity for what it was. Like she saw that I was able to step up to the plate, and then I was able to see her as like a vulnerable human being. Yeah. And that obviously sometimes she says fucked up shit because, you know, she's got her own shit. Yeah. And therapy is not something they practice unless they really have to. Yeah. But,
and that's hard. I mean, I feel like we have that in common with our parents. You know, they're resistant to therapy, I guess.
Yeah, like even something simple as me telling my dad to take cold medicine. Like I had to fight with him. I was like, you need to take this because if I hear another sniffle, I'm gonna lose my shit. Yeah. And he was like, you just want to keep me drugged. And I was like, oh my god.
I think I had that moment with my dad when before he passed away. He was not a very vulnerable person. He wasn't. it wasn't the relationship you had with your mom where he would say things to me. It was just like he would never be the guy that would show too much emotion, but not in a toxic masculinity way. It was just he was just that guy.
It was just like he didn't know how to share it with you. That's how my dad is.
But towards the end, like when I think he knew he was gonna die, because he just became an emotional person that would just cry all the time. And at the time I was a junior in high school, so I mean, obviously I wasn't as evolved and I wasn't ready to handle that kind of emotion from somebody that didn't show it like that before. So I pushed away, especially knowing the fact that I thought he was going to recover, because he was always in the hospital in and out. He was going to recover, but then he didn't. So that's the thing, is like I saw him vulnerable, and then I got scared, and then I never got to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you never got to actually like feel what he's saying to you, because you were just like, what the hell? Like, I've never seen this before. Why are you being like this? You're supposed to be okay.
Yeah. And then when I was holding his hand, when it was real that he was going to die, that's when I became that person that said all that stuff. But it was like I was forced to grow up like 5 years all of a sudden.
Right. Like in 5 minutes, you were just like, oh, Cesar, you're 5 years older now.
Yeah. Like, figure
it out.
It's that moment of like, oh, nothing that mattered before this matters now.
Yeah. I can feel that. Oh God.
But the good thing is that you and your mom saw that in each other, and you're able to. I mean, it's not like it's a perfect relationship yet, you're saying, but
no, but
you're working towards.
I mean, nothing's perfect though.
Yeah, but it's better.
That's the one thing. Like, also that I learned is like, don't look for perfect, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to learn the balance. What is okay with you? What's okay with them? And see if that works.
Yeah.
I know. Remember when my mom was like, she was in the hospital and like called you crying because like I didn't know what to do?
Yeah. That was
that was scary.
That was bad. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that that you got through it. Yeah.
That's almost like that it'll be a year since that, in like a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was going to the show. I was about to go to the show.
And I was like, I'm sorry. I need to call someone.
It's all right. Well, I'm glad you called me. We're friends. That's what friends are for.
I know.
And then that's why I'm doing the show, because I'm not usually the guy to have these conversations, especially now that we can't even hang out with each other like in person.
Like we should have had these instead of the Cards Against Humanity and getting mad at each other.
Which now is a racist game, by the way. Cards Against Humanity. It turns out it was not ironic. It turns out the people that run it are very racist.
Is this like the whole Lululemon thing where the guy only named it Lululemon because Asian people say it's funny?
What? I didn't know about that. No, this was they wanted to put the N-word on one of the cards, and then their one black employee spoke up, and then
he's like, probably not. Not.
He spoke up, and then they were like, oh, I'm sorry, like, we're gonna change the culture. And then a couple days later they fired him, and they had him committed to a mental institution for 5 days, like saying that he made up all this stuff and he was delusional. So a lot of people
you have to throw out the pack.
Yeah,
I've been in the garbage now.
Yeah, I have to. Oh,
you spend so much money getting the packs.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to talk about that right now.
Oh my god, dude! And I would say keep it for the collector's item, but you don't want to keep that.
I don't know, man. That's
like
weird
with people who keep like Nazi memorabilia.
Like, okay, I don't know if it's like that, but I guess
it's almost like that. It's all. If you really think about it, it kind of is.
Yeah. Look.
Damn. So
you like that?
We had to get a new game.
We went from the deepest conversation to the opposite of that.
To a stupid conversation. Like we literally never play that game.
No, but yeah, no. Back to what we were saying. I mean, I'm glad that your relationship with your mom has gotten better, or that it's headed in the right direction.
Yeah, it's getting better. I think it's also because we're close to 30. Like at some point, I have to take some charge of my own life.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm 28, dog.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna be 29 in October. It's not 30 is not that far.
Damn. Yeah, it's time to make those changes. It's time to have those conversations.
It's time to get that credit score up.
Yeah, exactly. Morally and
like your actual credit score. Guys. You don't be in the 600s. That's not cool. Don't do that to yourself. Pay your bills on time. Come on.
All right. So my last question, Tracy, is
okay.
What does true happiness look like to you? What is your
right now?
Yeah.
True happiness would be with Bay on the beach, but with like no one on the beach.
Oh, there you
just
go.
Like us too, because like seeing the scenes of people at Huntington grosses me out. So it has to be like a secluded beach with nobody. Just mad fruit everywhere. Fresh water. Good to go. Sunshine.
Tell me about Bay. I feel like I don't know what the hell.
Bay's cute. He's fine. He's actually intelligent. Yeah, that's a slight of my exes. Sorry. Let's see what else. He's in school. Also, like, he was kind of a motivator for me to go back because, yes, I was a college dropout. Technically, I'm not anymore, but you know.
Oh, nice.
I know. But yeah, he's like really intelligent to the point where sometimes I'm just like, all right, I gotta step it up, you know? Also, yeah, he's like teaching me like some certain things about myself that like I think I was trying to be like, that's not me.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not mean for no reason.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I am mean for no reason.
Oh,
and it's like other underlying stuff, you know?
Fuck.
So like I'm a better person, I guess.
That's what we gotta find, people like that, man.
I know you want people to elevate you, not necessarily be at the same level you are. That makes sense. Yeah. Like obviously it's a balance, but you just kind of know when you're doing okay. Like you're all right. Like this is where you should be.
Yeah.
Has it been hard with this pandemic? Absolutely. There was lots of plans in store, but
plans are not happening.
Plans are not happening, and as long as we're in like semi lockdown, it's shit gonna happen. Mm-mm. And the way things are looking, guys,
not like
we're about to be here in 5 years. So, I hope you all have really good communication skills for your relationships, because if you don't, God bless you.
I'm so glad I'm not long distance anymore, because it would have been
But even then, because now you can't even go be distracted and go to a bar. Nope. You know what I mean? Like, you still have to have really good communication, or to the point that you're like, I should leave my wife alone for a little bit so she can have her moment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to give each other space, too.
Yeah.
I mean, but I got lucky because, I mean, we don't necessarily assign space to each other. It just gets assigned to, because she gets to fly, so.
Right, like she gets to go out and, like, do her job.
Yeah.
How is that, by the way? How's she been doing with all this pandemic stuff?
I mean, the flights are packed with people. They wear masks, but they're packed with people, so.
I mean, it's like a little petri dish of people's breasts in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Scary.
As long as people aren't rude to her, because I'll fight someone.
There's always rude people. That's not going to change.
Oh my God. I hate it. It's like, you paid for a $50 ticket. Like, stop acting.
Yeah. Don't be so entitled for your $50.
I'm sitting here too. I'm out of here.
So thank you, Tracy, for talking to me. If we die from coronavirus because the government didn't care enough about us, do you think this is a good representation of who you are and what you believe? Where you are right now. Yeah.
Where I am right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I think so too. That's why we're doing this. So then, when I have kids, then I can be like, "This is my friend Tracy," just in case.
You're gonna be like, isn't that the one that died from corona?
See, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying if it's a very
I probably already had it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. But I don't have any symptoms. But I know that Carla thought she had it. So I'm pretty sure.
Like last year, no?
Like the beginning of this year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I got all the symptoms. That's why I was just like, oh, probably had it.
Damn.
And I was definitely traveling at the time, so FYI.
Shout out to Tracy for talking to me. And yeah, man, racism exists everywhere, even in your own family. And it's scary to think about, and I know it's uncomfortable, but we got to do this, man. Like, it's the only way to make progress. I'm gonna do the same charity this week that I did for the 4th of July episode, because it's still the same week. So within the 7 days. So LGBTQ Freedom Fund, like I said, the LGBTQ Freedom Fund helps people get out of jail that are LGBTQ, because you're 3 times more likely to be jailed, and they're abused in there. So they need to get bail to get them out. So this is a great fund. You can donate it at lgbtqfund.org. I'm going to put that right there, lgbtqfund.org. And yeah, follow the show. Follow me at I am Cesar Rod, and all the podcast apps if you're listening to us. YouTube at The Rodriguez Show on YouTube. And keep it funky, keep it fresh, keep it sexy. I'll see you next week. Bye.